have a motion to approve our agenda, please?
So moved. I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Armstrong, second by Holmes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Let's please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. All right, time for public comment, limited to 5 minutes per person. Who'd like to start?
James Stimson. After watching the Friday morning supervisors meeting where your business was to rescind the Tuesday evening vote on the redistricting committee members, I couldn't help but have some observations. One, Chuck and Alan found a way to get their way again, as usual. On Tuesday night, Alan was concerned that the Republican Central Committee list for the nominees to the redistricting committee didn't include anyone from Shenandoah or Essex, and felt that the location of the people on the committee was important. By Friday morning, that didn't seem to matter to him anymore, as all but one of the 5 newly voted members of the redistricting committee were from either Shenandoah or Essex. That seems either hypocritical or something like an agenda-driven move to have such a change of mind about geographical location of committee members. It appears not to be particularly impartial. Another observation about the committee that Alan and the Democrats nominated is there's not one man on the committee. That also does not seem impartial. I believe the list the Republican Central Committee produced had men on it. At one point or more, all of the people on the Republican Central Committee list were inferred to be untrustworthy several times by both Chuck and Alan, which I consider a problematic judgment of character. As to Chuck's wavering on whether he wants to belong to the Republican Party or not, it is disconcerting that someone who is making many decisions for the county that will affect the county long past his tenure, and the amount of taxpayer money that he has decision-making control over, is waffling back and forth on such a simple thing as what party he does or does not belong to. The emotionally influenced decisions on this matter concern me, that there are other decisions made from an emotional standpoint instead of an impartial, what is best for the citizens standpoint. The whole drama has been nothing but political and manipulative. A very troubling aspect of the meeting was that the fact that Chuck wanted to give his prepared emotional spiel uninterrupted by Jacob, but it was time for Jacob to have a rebuttal. He was interrupted by both Chuck and Alan numerous times, with Alan trying to shut Jacob down more than once by ending the discussion with a point of order. I would expect more respect from the senior members of the Supervisor Board. It has been evident from the beginning tactic of appointing yourselves to committees before including Jacob in the decision-making process, as well as Chuck calling him a rookie, that you lack the respect due to Jacob as a fellow supervisor who went through the rigor of 3 elections in 2020 and ended up heartily supported in the final election. Notably against an independent opponent that all 3 of the other supervisors at the time supported against Jacob. One supervisor expressing it this way: ABJ, anybody but Jacob. In continuing to disrespect Jacob, I hope you understand that you are disrespecting all the people in the county that voted for him. He has earned respect, and I would suggest that it is not too late to start giving him that respect. Then, for some reason, during Chuck's monologue, the Board of Health was mentioned in conjunction with the anti-wind people. Since you brought up the subject, Chuck, I guess I'll have to comment on it. Chuck expressed how awful it was to have anti-wind people at 6 out of 7 Board of Health meetings. He said that the business of the supervisors has been interfered with for 5 months, trying to put out fires of these anti-wind people so that the supervisors could not get any business done, or very little. I'm not sure how citizens showing up to Board of Health meetings to express concerns over the health of citizens in the county if they're forced to live too near wind turbines is an interference of county business. Chuck's reference to the Board of Health shutting down those citizens' concerns every 2 months was a shallow blanket statement meant to discredit the presentation of those citizens gave to the Board of Health. Now, I would like to mention at this point that Page County is a county that provided mental health services to the state for over a century. And to have a Board of Health in this county that is more interested in clinical studies, possibly funded by billionaire corporations, seeking to pad their pockets under the guise of green energy, than the actual experiences of people who live near wind turbines doesn't seem to address the mental health issue. I would think that mental health should be a consideration that the Board of Health takes to heart when researching the effects of wind turbines on county residents. The experiences of people living near wind turbines are facts. Just ask the young father in Taylor County whose son has seizures because of the nearby wind
Okay,
turbine.
Jane, excuse me, the timer went off for 5 minutes is up. Thank you for your comments. Who's next, Paige? Who's next, please? Doesn't work that way. 5 minutes per person is how it's listed on the agenda.
Somebody else can read the letter.
Dale Falk. I'm going to echo a little bit what Jane said. And I've got a question for Mr. Armstrong. And I want a response.
It's not a Q&A, Dale, it's a public comment.
Okay.
Dale, I was just going to say, you can sure give me a call anytime. I'll be glad to.
I want to know what your definition of geographic balance is.
I'm not going to answer that right now because it was brought up during the meeting, and I think if we all
No.
talk about it, there was definitely no issues as far as
Well, then give me your phone number.
712-246-8371. Anytime you want to visit, I'll be glad to.
Okay. Second issue is your anti-wind people that you attacked. One of them was me. Now, I'm assuming that this committee, this redistricting committee, has rules and guidelines and regulations that they have to follow. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, even if an anti-wind person was on this board committee, how can they fix the district against Al if we have rules and regulations to follow? You insulted me on the public airways. I don't like that. There is no need for that. You've taken this thing personal. My final comment is to both of you. An organization is only as good as its leadership. And quite frankly, we're lacking leadership.
Thank you for your comment.
Lauren Johnson. I'm going to speak to you this morning as Lauren Johnson, not as the Republican Party co-chair. This is not the feelings of the committee. I want to make that clear. This is my personal thing. You talk about the anti-wind people and how few they are, okay? You called this gentleman a one-issue candidate when he ran. He ran against 5 other people on a primary. Nobody got to the threshold to get the ticket for the Republican Party. We had to hold a special session of the Central Committee to elect this gentleman. On the first vote, from 16 people across this county who were just chosen at a caucus, put him in office over 50% on the first ticket. I'd like to know how you determine that these people are just a few people. This is the large majority of the Republican Party in this county. The by far large majority of the Republican Party in this county. And I'm not anti-wind. I am for the protection of property rights for people that have small acreages outside in the county. Me being one of them. I don't think I have a problem. I have nice neighbors and I don't think they'll do that to me. But I'm here to protect the others. It needs to be changed. And we will change it one way or another. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anybody online wish to make a comment? All right, our public comments come to a close. Let's go next on our agenda, discuss and approve reducing the speed limit on designated portions, huh?
Oh, yeah, engineer update.
Oh, yeah, we do need the engineer update. Sorry, yeah, jumping ahead. We're ready for you, JD.
There may be.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Is this thing on?
Yep, it's on.
The sun's shining, we just can't see it. So, our operations this week are affected by weather, just like the rest of the folks here in Page County. So yesterday, we didn't blade or haul rock. We burned brush because it was pretty wet out there on the gravels. And we had contractors discover the mud. We have mud roads also, and we got some truck stuff. So today we do have motor graders out in the districts. We're on washboards and potholes because the surface is such that it'll tie back down with a little traffic and shaping. We also have rock trucks out hauling road, off various spots. Of course, thinking back on my Army days, it's either dust or mud. So that's what we have here too. Right now it's mud, but it will dry out and the roads will be better when we get them worked over. The pipe crew is doing maintenance on equipment today. I did see them a while with the trailer and some pipe this morning, as I recall, and we did some work on the skid steer yesterday also. Spray patch work continues on M56. Juniper is the name of that road. They also call it maybe H Road. The mower's ready to do. I saw a mower. We have mowed the pavements, one pass on the pavements north of 2, and we're headed on some of the seal coats southeast of Clarinda here. We did get more parts in for the Cat Challenger more sooner than anticipated. And we do anticipate getting across all the pavements prior to Memorial Day holiday at the end of the month. That's kind of a standard for mowing. It is before the July date that the DNR prefers, but we do that for safety reasons. We don't get too far behind. Growth of vegetation along the roads is with the the much needed rain, vegetation will take off growing. We're going to do some fuel tank maintenance on our main bulk tanks at the shop here in Clarinda. We did go around the outlying tanks last fall and suck out the water prior to the winter season. The truck that tipped over last week was inspected by the adjuster last Friday. He hasn't got back to us, but he did ask some questions about what it cost originally, because we have a replacement insurance policy on a couple of trucks bought at that time. So we'll see how that shakes out. We would, if we're getting trucks, we're getting quotes on truck, cab chassis and truck equipment right now. Moving on to construction, the F20 bridge on J-20. We hit another milestone last evening about 6 o'clock when the last piece of concrete was placed by the DVE sub. We did the eastbound lane on Saturday and then the westbound lane yesterday afternoon. So tasks remaining are erection of the corner guardrail, which is the day job. And they'll get there, they'll move in sometime middle of next week. At least that's what the schedule is now. And we also have to finish the shouldering and do seed in motion, and that's done when the dirt dries out. We don't want to attempt to finish the shoulders now with the wet conditions. It just leaves a mess. Last week I also drove around several locations, 3 locations in particular, one out northeast of town here on a dirt. Actually, they were all on dirt roads. It was done last Thursday. A contractor that was in to repair G Avenue came back down, and we looked together at 3 other structures. One south of Clements over here on the dirt, on the Nottoway bottom, a bridge up on P Avenue near the Montgomery County line, and then a bridge that's been closed for several years on Kiwi Avenue north of J-52. I have some photographs here of that bridge.
This is the one on Kiwi?
Yes. The pictures of the bridge are all on Kiwi, and it's the north pier is the problem pier. The abutments are fairly decent. There need to be some work done on the deck plank, but that's fairly routine. But we haven't I haven't got quotes back from the contractor nor figured out which ones we're doing or not doing. If there's alternates that we can put in a large pipe like we anticipate on G Avenue, the F36 bridge. Contract for project development proceeds at pace, interspersed with inspection at the J-20 bridge. The contract rock, currently they're hauling rock in Taylor County. Our contract with them, they anticipate starting perhaps as soon as Friday. They'll haul for a week, then they have another job that they need to finish up, that they stopped. They need to go back to over in Mills. So we anticipate hauling rock for a week, taking a break, and then finishing up the rock haul. And that's the rock haul shown on the map. I furnished this map to the board a couple weeks ago, except it was in green.
It was in green at that, 41 miles, is that the?
Yes. And also on the, any questions for the engineer update?
You never did say how long you thought the rock haul would take, given optimum conditions, when?
2-3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, okay.
No, should go fairly quickly.
Okay.
Just wanted to share with you, Mark Simmons may be getting a hold of you. He's got another thought process toward our Johnson Run thing, so when he gives you a call, if he wants to get together with you, that's fine. If you need, I wouldn't mind being out there to listen to what his thoughts are.
Is he the tenant?
Yes, he's the he's the farmer for the tenant. The tenant is Valley Farms. But he's the guy that farms it for them. And he's rethinking what we had talked about on that overlay. He's thinking maybe different thoughts. I thought it was interesting. So
That's Mark.
Simmons. Yep.
Have you, I know we had a lot of rain, so dust is not a problem, but last Tuesday, we had the Carlsons in here, and I did find the video that she posted with the dust. I don't know if you saw it. So has anything happened in terms of discussion with Shieldberg about alternate routes?
I just reiterated the routes and
Yeah.
Okay.
And she sent something, I think on Friday, it was just not, I can't remember how many trucks, but she sent me a note or sent us.
Oh, I
a note,
didn't see
I
that.
believe, and I'm trying to, did she send it to you, Jacob? Okay.
I didn't get anything.
I'll see if I can find it. It was quite a few, and I think.
Were
that
there
was
a lot of
Friday.
trucks on Friday?
I believe it was Friday. She said they had quite a few again. So,
So I know,
and I don't know, and it may have been Thursday, so.
Well, did you talk to him about dust control at all? I talked to him last week, and then I didn't talk to him this week. I talked to Carl. Carl's not aware of anything that he knows of. So I'm basically gonna have to ask Schilberg what he's referring to. I didn't know. Did you have any more discussion with him about that, JD?
no, when I talked to the rock salesman, I talked about the routes, not dust control.
well, the mud will dissolve and turn back to dust. So we should try to find a solution.
What Carl mentioned was, the only thing he knew of was some kind of a nuisance
Oh, some sort of a nuisance.
thing we could do. That's the only thing he mentioned. He didn't know if that was the best route either, so that's all he mentioned. It might be something.
Okay.
If you look at the map where we're hauling rock with this contract, only X Avenue is in the vicinity of the Carlson residence, and it's obvious to me that they should go east on J55, north on S, and then return on J53.
So with another available route and nuisance laws at our disposal, maybe that's the approach we should take.
When you're talking nuisance law, DNR's involved, and we're not,
DNR on nuisance laws?
yeah, we're not interested in that.
This is rock.
Yeah. Any other questions of JD? Okay, we've got on the agenda the J53, 55 speed limit. I see Lyle showed up, and obviously, we've taken this under study the last couple of weeks. Typically, there is an engineering study that is recommended. However, we do have the authority to bypass that in a situation like this and go directly to a lower speed limit. But the question I would have for Lyle is that we can post whatever we want to post, but unless there's some level of enforcement, it probably won't be effective. So Lyle, do you have enough resources? If we put those two roads down to 45 mile an hour to occasionally try to get that enforced with the people
Here's
do
my
that.
question. So you're looking to control the dust on the surface, correct?
Looking to control the speed, and, well, the dust ultimately is a problem because of visibility, but the speed apparently, and Ed can speak to this because he talked about it, the speed seems to be whatever the driver feels comfortable at, if I heard Mrs. Carlson and Ed correctly.
We can put people down there, but you gotta remember, we've got 545 square miles in town. We have the same thing coming out of Bradley, we can sit down there at different times of the day, and try to catch people coming in that 35-mile-an-hour zone. When we're there, it's very seldom we do that again. And that's the problem, we're gonna have to try to control that whole area. But we control our efforts there, just for days or nights, or it's probably, you're not as noticeable at night. But what are we doing for the rest of the patrol areas that we have?
Maybe during a big rock haul would be a good time to do it here. During a big rock haul,
Yes.
which is coming up here in a couple of weeks.
And I'll usually take.
And the word would, yeah.
One person, they get on that CV and they know that there's somebody sitting there. And then when we're gone, they're gone.
No, I know.
It's unfortunate. I mean, if you look at counties our size, I think Mill County just got their 13th deputy, if I'm not mistaken, in a meeting last week, excuse me. So right now, we have 8 total with myself, and we're looking to hire our 9th to fill that slot. So that is 4 deputies down from Mills County, yes, they have an interstate. But our population, if I'm not mistaken, are about the same. And we're handling everything we can. Right now, we're sitting one down at, myself, I'm up here. I have one, because the court says we have to, sitting down at the lead center for jury selection. So what's that do, and this is why, it's could come back to item, what's that do for the, protection of the county? Because after some of the things from the last meeting, I've been requested to be here. So then, we have to supply to the court. We're trying to juggle everything we can and be everywhere. Unfortunately, we can't. But we will spend some more time down there. If you as a board choose to lower that, and I can't make them issue citations, but I can recommend it. Now, what you need to be aware of is you're going over the speed limit and you live on that road, you're probably going to get stopped and you're probably going to have to go pay the court. So keep that in mind also. We don't say just because you're a trucker, you're going to get a ticket. If you're a local, you're not. We're going to hit everybody that's going to get it. So remember that also when that happens. And I'm talking more towards the people that are listening live or will listen later on one of the news radios. We don't differentiate on who gets the ticket. We either down there enforcing it. And it may not just be for that, it could be for a seatbelt, or a lot of things. We look for everything we can, of course, from our height, it's very hard to see if it's semi-driver has a seatbelt. But if you choose to do that, we will spend more time than our normal patrol, which we have a GPS in our vehicle, so we can show it those and do the best we can what we have.
Well, it's probably like any speed law. I mean, speed limits are broken every day in Page County. And sometimes you're there, sometimes you're not. Well, thanks for coming to explain that and your shortages. I appreciate that. So what does the board think? I mean, it's kind of like any regulation. Sometimes if you put it out there, people know that you're aware of it, and maybe that in itself will.
That's what I'm hoping, that they'll try to do a better job of, if they're aware that people are concerned publicly, maybe they'll be more apt to try to be more conservative in their speed in that area.
Maybe 45 will equal 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To 55, or 55 equals 60
Yeah,
to 65.
yeah.
Looks like it's moving on.
Yeah, I'm guessing from what you had said that sometimes they're probably 60, 65, and that's really too fast, so.
So is there a motion to, now I want JD to verify this, but on J53, the area that we were concerned with was from the intersection of Highway 71 east to the Taylor County line. And J55 was on the east side of Braddyville to the Taylor County line. Did I state that correctly? Okay.
There's a stretch of J55 inside the city of Braddyville that has its own speed limit.
Right.
So the east corporate limit of Braddyville is the western terminus of this segment of road.
Okay. Corey just put this up, and there's the J53, it's Shambaugh Bridge from that point to the Taylor County line, and then if you can scoot it down lower so we can see Braddyville. So I think from that city limit is probably right there is where the 35 ends. So I entertain, oh, go ahead.
So the one down, coming out of Braddyville is already.
Lyle, just a second. Lyle, could somebody hand Lyle a microphone? We had somebody online. Said they couldn't hear, sorry. There's a handheld over on this other table.
You got back, JD? No.
There's a map online. If you want to come over here and look at Jacob's computer.
I'll turn it a little bit more.
Okay, so you're talking coming out of Braddyville, that's already 35 if I'm not mistaken.
Right,
Correct?
from east end, the city limits. From, yeah.
Yes.
Where the 35 ends, on the east side of Braddyville, to the Taylor County line.
And you're gonna make that 45 now.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're
And
concerned.
go all the way over, across, down around.
To the Taylor page.
Okay.
And then up north.
On Shambaugh going all the way over to the Taylor County line also.
Correct.
Okay.
That would be the motion if we would have a motion to do that. How long would it take, JD, if the board makes that, how long does it take our sign people to do their work?
Well, these probably are new, if they're new signs, we have signs in stock, but we need to put posts in the ground. So there's a one call requirement, so within a week.
Ed's got a comment back there on something to do with this.
You were talking about Braddyville city limits, but 35 goes to peak.
Oh, 35 goes all the way to
So
T?
it'd be from T, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ed.
So,
That's why I was asking if you're
Yeah.
gonna change
Oh,
that.
no.
Yeah, it's correct, it
Yeah.
goes all the way out there.
Okay, I beg your pardon. I thought it ended right there at the ball field. Okay. Okay. Out to the Steuben Dick corner, right?
All that curve.
Yes.
That's the thing, I'm all for lowering the speed limits, but, this is where we start getting discussion of time, money to do this, and I'm reliable to make a difference.
We're not there. It's big equipment on those curves and stuff out there, the 50-mile-an-hour track is very.
But what I'm saying, I'm all for you, but what I'm saying is, lowering the speed limit ain't gonna change that. I don't think it's gonna change that.
But it's a challenge. It's a challenge to go on any of our roads. But the one thing, if you do lower it, and we do have an unfortunate accident, then you have a shift of liability.
Done your best, you can. The rocks flying is one of the concerns also. If we get it seal coated again, then that's gonna take that risk out of it. At that point, where we could probably go back to 55. Be my guess.
Yeah, when you get it seal coated, I think you
The dust and the rocks will be another thing.
Not really, I live on J-53, and, other people do too, they're aware of not possible, I think, maintenance does. Now, we have little kids, and those trucks are zooming by at pretty great speed, so I don't mind it going down. I tend to be looking at drops, so I'm going pretty slow already.
So a call to one call, do we have any idea how many signs it'll take versus how many we have in inventory?
I haven't done the count yet. But I know where there's some available where I think, they could be removed on 190th Street, 320, 230th Street.
Okay,
From 30, erected 30 years ago for a different project.
JD, are you talking removing the sign or the speed limit from the street?
Well, I'd do both.
Parking,
Well, the board would have that.
that's why I'm asking.
but what I'm hearing you say is that we have more signs on a couple of thoroughfares than perhaps we need.
Well, I propose to abandon the speed limit.
Oh, on 190th? Out west of Lawrence?
The whole stretch from, E Avenue or the hot mix stops to Clarinda. I mean, it's all part of the market route. It was used as a bypass for two when they were redoing the shoulders back in the mid-90s.
So your long-term proposal, what I'm hearing you say, you want that to go back to 55 at some point? Is that what you're saying?
That's a totally different route.
I know,
We're
that's,
just talking about that because of signs.
well, because, I mean, if you remove the signs, does that create confusion from that route, if it's still 45?
Right, you have to do both at the same time.
What does the sign cost? Do you have to buy additional
I
signs?
don't know. The problem is not the cost. Right now, our suppliers, we generally get our signs from Iowa Prince Industries, and their shops are shut down because of security issues.
Okay.
So we'll have to find another vendor. If we need signs.
Can you make a call? Isn't there a sign man that, don't we have a sign man?
I asked them this morning
Okay,
how many signs we had.
okay. So is there a regulation to the interval of those signs? How frequently they need to be posted?
I'd put them on the ends and at major intersections on the inside, like East River Road. Where there's turning traffic onto the J-53 or J-55.
So can you look at the map with us and see how many?
8,
Huh?
8?
8 signs?
Yeah.
8 signs? Okay.
that'd be a minimum.
Well, what's the pleasure of the board? I mean, what do you think? Should we try to lower it? Should we keep it the same?
I think it should be lowered.
Okay. Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to lower it to 45.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Armstrong, second by Holmes to lower those aforementioned routes to 45 miles an hour.
Can we put in there until it's repaid?
Until it's,
Yeah, I think we should.
Put that in the month, so.
I'll take the friendly amendment to add that until it's repaved.
Seal coated, whatever the right word is, yeah.
Hard surface.
Hard surface, yeah.
Yes. When it's turned back to the hard surface.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion unanimous. So JD, keep us posted on, when we can have this completed, okay?
Thank you.
And Lyle, thanks to you and your guys for,
Probably JD, when it is maybe something that you want to talk to the local stations and make sure that people understand. So if they have any
I'm
questions,
sure they're paying attention now.
okay, I'm sure they are. So,
all right, thank you. Okay, we're running a little bit behind, discuss improved public health recommendations during COVID update. Darin Sunderman led the meeting last night, as I understand. Jess was gone, so Darin's on the line. Darin, are you ready to give us a report from Public Health last night, please? You're muted, Darin, if you're trying to talk. See if I can.
Maybe Chris can run in and tap him on the shoulder. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
That's fast.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, now they can hear me now. Sorry about that. Yep. Well, I'm filling in for Jess. As you said, so you're definitely got the B team, so you might have to bear with me just a little bit. We'll start off with the COVID update. To date, there have been 2,121 cases confirmed in Page County. There have been 22 deaths. As of this report, there's been 5,221 Page County residents that have completed their vaccinations. There are currently 919 Page County residents that have had at least one dose of the 2-dose vaccine. So quickly too, also, Public Health has given out 7,200 total vaccinations. That's plus or minus a few. So that means they've actually given out 1,060 approximately, non-Page County residents have been also treated by Public Health. But getting back to just Page County, that means that 41% approximately of Page County has been vaccinated with at least one vaccine. Okay, so that wraps up just the COVID update. So going back to that, excuse me, that 41%, last night at our Board of Health meeting, there was discussion about, the whole herd immunity and trying to raise our numbers because I don't believe 41%, is high enough. I don't know the magic number, but there was a feeling that we need to increase that. So the Board of Health would like to recommend some type of a incentive system, whether you call it a lottery or you call it a drawing. There's other states that are doing this. There's other businesses that are doing this for their employees. And they wondered if possibly some of the COVID funds could be used for this. They didn't have a magic number of how much to try. We just threw out some ideas of, if you did, let's say $5,000, you could do 10 $500 drawings, or you could do 5 larger ones. It's really totally up to the discretion of the board. The only issue that was brought up by the Board of Health is they just wanted to make sure it didn't create any liability concerns or issues, which I'm sure could be checked into if you decide to do it. But they would like to pursue it and to try and raise our numbers.
Darin, did they discuss any education or any other avenues for trying to get the number up?
Yes, they did. Sorry, I forgot that. Yep, they've talked about doing some more education, especially as they move into the younger population, that we need to do some more education on the safety of the vaccines. And still, even for the adults, getting out some more education, whether that's press releases or the social media or whatever type of media. And I'm sure when Jess gets back, she'll work on that.
Okay. Well, anything else of note that you want to make mention of?
I don't believe so, unless you guys have questions concerning any of that.
Anybody?
Darin, you had made a comment, and I didn't hear number of people that outside of the county that were vaccinated.
Right around 1,060 non-residents.
Okay.
Yep, a couple of our clinics, I know we had people, Lincoln, Des Moines, several out of Missouri, Maryville area. So that was good to get some.
In the meeting last night, any talk, but is there a central location that keeps track in Iowa that will put all of the different sites from where people are from and into one central at some point in time, so we have a better idea? And I know that you go out of the state, you go out of the community to get shots. Is there any talk of a central depository for all these numbers, so we'll ever have a better idea?
I'm not sure if it'll be all inclusive, but there is the coronavirus.iowa.gov website.
Yeah.
And that's the only one that we spoke of last night, or that I'm aware of at this time.
And that's still the one that we rely on, okay, thank you.
Correct.
So herd immunity, it seems to me, ever since the coronavirus, we've had a learning curve, a pretty steep learning curve, and what we think we know today changes tomorrow. The herd immunity number has been pretty consistently 70%, but recently I've been reading some folks in the medical community are pushing at 80%. What's your board? Did they tell you, or did they discuss what that target number really is?
There was some brief discussion. 70%. The 70% number was thrown out there. I think as you might have stated, that's possibly on the lower end. But again, I don't know if there is a magic number.
So with clinics that are scheduled now, are all the remaining clinics through Page County Public Health, are they by reservation, or are they all walk-in clinics at this point, Darin?
Well, we've still got our boost clinics, so those are reservations. The prime clinics, to my knowledge, the prime clinics are going to be mostly by walk-in, going forward from here, as the numbers have dropped significantly of people coming in.
Did your board have any strong feeling about whether that trend of those numbers dropping was just a fluke, or are we beginning to see just simply not very many arms that are willing to be vaccinated?
I think that was the concern of people maybe not willing, or possibly the education piece of maybe some people still hesitant because of either myths or fears that they've heard, whether they're true or not. So I think that was their concern with the outreach, that we need to do a little more right now.
In my life, I've never seen more education to get a vaccine by more places. Every billboard, radio, TV, billions of dollars spent on this. I myself have a hard time believing people aren't educated on whether or not they want to get a shot.
Yeah, I know.
It's as fair as it can be.
Was there any consideration for people that had this and have gotten over it?
Yeah, Darin, did they bring up, I didn't hear last night's meeting, did they bring up consideration of people who've already had the coronavirus and got through it? How it applies to them?
And it kind of cut out, but did you say people that have had the virus?
Yeah, have beat it.
Well, there will be some of those, yes. There will be some folks that have had it, and they would add to the numbers. I don't have the numbers of folks that have had it. Well, there's been the 2,121 cases.
So those people who have had it, they're part of they should be counted as part of the herd immunity number.
That's the question, I think, yeah.
And then I suppose there's no data on, because I don't know, you don't know, well, you know who's had it, but it'd be interesting to know
right.
Those who have had it have gone in to vaccinate, because there would be some duplication of numbers there.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that herd immunity, that 41% probably is not totally accurate. It's probably on the low end.
That's just going by the vaccinated people, yes.
Okay. Well, does anybody want to suggest that we do like Ohio and give out $5 million?
Not at this time. I guess, listen, I listened in at the meeting last night. I think it's a concept, and I think they need to put some ideas together, and I know that's on their list. to kind of come up with some ideas if there's anything out there to do. I'm not sure if it's, you know, either you do or you don't. And I don't know if rewarding people that were willing to will stimulate other people to go ahead. I don't know. But that, I figured we'll let the board discuss it and come up with a plan and see what we think. So they have quite a few dollars that are still available, and I'm going to guess from their talk, Jess will be doing some visiting with some of the other counties to see what they're doing, and then also with the Department of Public Health through the Iowa location to see what they recommend, what's working and what isn't.
Okay. I think businesses in our communities have some responsibility to, you know, help get us to herd immunity too, because the quicker we're there, the more the masks stay off, et cetera. Okay, yes.
My opinion is just, I think people are educated and they can make their own decisions. And trying to tell somebody they need to be scared of something is kind of a challenging thing to do after a year and a half of experiencing it. So I think people are informed. I don't know how we could be any more informed on it. Anyway, so I'll wait and see what they recommend.
So we'll just put, what I'm hearing is we're gonna put this on hold until we get some more defined definitions and requests from the public. Okay. All right. Hey, Darin, thanks for the update. Really appreciate it.
You bet. You bet. So Chuck, could you just clarify for me what I need to relay back to the Board of Health? Because it was a little hard to hear everybody.
Yeah, sure. I think the consensus of our table is at this time, we're not ready to engage in any incentive program, but would be very open to listen to any more detail coming from the Board of Public Health on their education or their ideas on how to engage people and encourage them to join in the vaccination effort. Does that clarify for you?
That does. That way I can get them back some good information. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Darin. Appreciate it. All right, again, we're running a little bit behind. The next item is to discuss approved capital asset useful life schedule resolution 26/2021. Melissa sent it out, I think, on Monday and encouraged us with any questions. I asked a couple of questions yesterday. It satisfied my curiosity. There's a resolution. Okay. So, do we have a motion? And basically for the public,
just explain what it is, so everybody knows.
Yeah, okay. Basically what it is, I used to call it always a depreciation schedule in business, and it's, we have, they use a different term in the auditor's office, useful life, which is essentially depreciation. Our depreciation schedule on some secondary roads equipment was not updated properly in an audit a year ago. And so the auditor is working with us to go back to avoid having to go re-audit and do all this, to accept a revised schedule that should have been given back a year ago that did not get presented. So this actually will be a good thing to put that behind now. It kind of gives everybody a fresh slate on depreciation with regard to secondary roads equipment. So that's the summary, and I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the capital asset useful life schedule resolution number 26-2021.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Armstrong, second by Holmes. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. So we'll sign this, and that goes back to the auditor today. There you go, Jacob. Oh, that's,
I didn't see those two.
oh, that's Brenda's report?
Yeah, okay. That's what that is.
Okay, so next up, discuss and approve assigning Tom Nordhues administrative and reporting responsibilities for dollars received from the American Rescue Plan. That's a mouthful, but so is the American Rescue Plan. NACO, which we are now members of, National Association of Counties, has produced several videos. I've not watched all of them. Our auditor has. I don't know if you guys have watched them yet or not.
Trying.
We're trying to get definition. Of course, the county, under the American Rescue Plan, is anticipating receiving $2.9 million in 2 payments total, 2.9. And the rules are still being written. Every municipality in Page County is getting something out of this rescue plan. Blanchard, Shambaugh, every incorporated town. Schools, yes.
Cities. Yeah.
So the problem with government programs, of course, is the government giveth and the government taketh away. And in this particular case, there are no rules. They're saying, here's a bunch of money, but they're not telling us, they haven't defined how to spend it. And they made it very clear that it cannot, the only things they've made really crystal clear at this point is it cannot be used for direct tax relief, and it must be expended, or it must be earmarked by 2024, expended by the end of 2026, and that there will be stringent reporting duties by every recipient to the U.S. Department of Treasury. And so for that matter, and knowing, in our experience with FEMA and other disaster payments from the Fed, reporting is extremely cumbersome and will take some effort. None of our offices have ability. The auditor's office, treasurer's office, they're all busy serving the public and things that they're called to do. A lot of counties are hiring an individual special to be the administrator of these funds. What we'd like to consider now, Tom Nordhues, our safety director, I think there's a general feeling here on the board, and we'll discuss it in a moment, that of all of our employees, he makes the most sense of at least approaching to lead the effort. He wouldn't be the single guy. We're gonna take a lot of eyes on this thing. Alan, I, and Jacob are all gonna watch these videos. Whatever we do, we'll get constant reporting, regular reporting from the administrator to ensure that we're on track so that we don't get into a situation where we've expended funds improperly and have to pay it back. The only other piece of information I'll tell you to show you how confusing this is, as we looked at a jail and talked about a jail study a week ago, it was our belief that we could use these funds to build a jail. We are now learning that that's only partially true. What we believe we've learned through these NACO videos is that the expenditure on a jail has to be on expansion of an existing jail, not a new facility. So that will be a consideration for the jail committee as to whether or not these funds are actually going to be available or not for a jail. So very complex. Again, it's government, you would expect it. But do we turn it back? And maybe that's what will happen when our committee looks at the regulations and how we need to spend it. Maybe it won't make any sense for Page County.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we're early in that process. We need to engage an administrator once the funds arrive. And we have, the treasurer and the auditor have completed the preparatory work of having the DUNS number, the SAM number, and all the federal registrations that are required to take receipt of these dollars. And so anyway, Tom, if you'd come forward, that's kind of a backdrop of why we got in this conversation. And we're asking Tom to be the lead person to actually submit the numbers through consultation with all the applicable department heads.
Last time we thought of something that was having spray weeds, now we're.
I know. This is kind of like chicken head, huh? He's everywhere.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, and I'll be very honest, when it was brought to me, I thought, Tom's got patience and a lot of diligence, and he's willing to ask questions, and the red tape never seems to bother him. And that's why I really thought this might be, it's not going to be a full-time job. It may be a lot to learn, but once it gets started, it's going to be very easy. It's just making sure that we don't let anything slip through the cracks. That's the big thing. And I'm 100% in favor of if Tom is doing it. So Tom,
How do you feel about this?
Yeah.
I'm fine with doing it. I mean, you look at when I got hired 2 years ago, some of the responsibilities in my job description was basically this, what we would bad emergency management. Obviously, things have changed in 2 years. With the virus pandemic situation. And of course, they're doing that thing at the end of the job description that says that other assignments. So, no, I'm fine with looking at it.
And I was just going to say too, with your position, working with safety, you also have to deal a lot with the auditor's office, which is one of the offices that you have to work with, not only with the treasurers, so to make sure that communication is there. So it's not like you're working with new people. You're going to be involved with people that you're already kind of involved with, so.
How much are we gonna, basically, you just take half your day or however much it takes to start doing this and safety on the other part?
And we can, and that would be, if he's willing to do it, we have a review, and part of that is to see how to make that work with.
You know, we've already switched him into COVID. I mean, there were some weeks that he worked full time because he could do that and not have to worry about safety so much. So, flexibility has never been a big problem for Tom.
What you guys want, I'm more than willing to look at it and find that.
Well, full transparency here, I talked a little bit with Chris about doing this, because Chris has had extensive FEMA experience over the last year with COVID dollars, and Chris would be willing to do it. However, they're going to be really swamped with regard to getting the EMD implemented into dispatch. And so until that is completed over the next 90 days or whatever it takes, it's really unfair to have him take it on. So I say that only because you guys office together. Chris has, some experience with federal reporting in these kinds of similar situations.
I think he'll be a real plus to have available to work with.
But I think it's important we have a point man so we have accountability. We know who to go to. We know who's reporting out, and the buck will stop there.
Yeah, and if Chris says down the road when he gets this other issue taken care of and satisfied, and he wants to help on it, I don't think there's anybody that says has to work on it. So,
no, I agree.
As long as one person is the go-to person.
As long as we get it done, and
Yeah.
I mean, number one, we don't want to put, if we accept dollars, we want to make darn sure we don't put our taxpayers at a disadvantage and have to pay it back because we spent it wrong. Okay? All right, so you'd be willing to do that? That's excellent. So, do I have a motion to approve Tom as the administrator and reporter for ARP dollars?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Armstrong, second by Holmes. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. All right, next on the agenda, we have a employee performance review with Tom. It's possible closed session per Code of Iowa, Chapter 21.5.1I. Tom, would you like this to be open? You would like to, Chris? Because of Zoom, we've got a lot to discuss, and I don't know, I want my board members to advise me. If there's any decisions made in closed session, then we have to come out, I mean, we can't make decisions, we have to come out and vote in open session. For Zoom, there's an hour. It's 9:35.
I would think by 10:30 or 4.
Okay, so let's go at just a straight hour. At 10:35, we will come back on Zoom. It may mean we'll have to sit here a little bit, but hopefully we can get our work done. Is that okay? All right, so do I have a motion to go into the closed session?
I'll make the motion to go in closed session.
And that's per Code of Iowa, Chapter. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead and say
Where's
that.
that
Jay.
at? I didn't see it on here.
Down at the very
Oh, here
bottom.
it is. Per Code Iowa Chapter 21.5.1. Aye.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll second that.
motion by Holmes, second by Armstrong. All in favor, say aye.
You need to do a roll call.
Oh, we do need a roll call. Yes, we.
Aye.
Yes, aye.
Yes, aye. Okay, we are going to go into closed session. We're going to shut down Zoom. We'll come back at 10:35.